Good afternoon, I am your host Holly Forrest and welcome back to AMA 23/6 News. Today we will be discussing the Cape Town water crisis with special guest Susan Parsley and the pipeline protest with special guest Maple Italia. But first, for a breaking local news story, a 19-year-old male who was stabbed outside a Newmarket residence in the early morning of March 27th has succumbed to his injuries in hospital. Keegan Blythe was assaulted while with another male and they were both hospitalized but were considered non-threatening injuries. While his friend was released at his fine, Blythe passed away on March 29th in Sunnybrook Hospital, and the York Region Police waited until after the Easter long weekend to disclose the information about the perps. They have arrested 3 men, Justin Ryan, 22, Dmitry Ingram Pirozevsky, 19, both of Newmarket, and a 16-year-old male from Toronto.
What were they charged for?
Good question, Susan. The 3 suspects are charged with 2nd-degree murder, 2 counts of assault causing bodily harm, possession for the purpose of trafficking marijuana and cocaine, possession of proceeds of stolen property, and unauthorized possession of a restricted or prohibited weapon.
What can we do to help?
The homicide unit is currently appealing for witnesses. Please contact 1-866-876-5423 if you have any information relating to the crime.
And now for a commercial break sponsored by Tim Hortons.
I sure do love a good cup of coffee, especially from Tim Hortons. Sometimes you just need a good cup of warm liquid to slide down your throat, and you can trust my opinion because I'm on your screen. There has recently been a lot of controversy about whether or not there should be pipelines built on Indigenous reserves.
Do tell more.
Agreed.
Well, where do I start? The pipelines were introduced in August 2013 by Kinder Morgan and hasn't been getting a lot of light shed on the topic. But ever since celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo, and Shailene Woodley, this subject has been brought up more recently.
But aren't those American actresses and actors? What does this have to do with Canada?
I'm glad you brought that up, Susan. Well, even though they are American, the Keystone Pipeline is going through Alberta all the way up to Illinois. Not to mention, we have pipelines of our own in Canada, the Trans Mountain Pipeline, Trans-Canada Energy East Pipeline, and one going through the Northern Gateway. These pipelines are mostly located on the west side of Canada.
I have a question, Maple. Why are people protesting about pipelines when it will bring up our economy and overall benefit the people for it better?
I'm glad you asked that. Many people think that pipelines benefit us in a good way. And yeah, sure, it will provide jobs and boost up our economy, but that's short term, not long term, and not good for you or the environment, and known as a place we live in. Hashtag water is life. Indigenous people are not thinking about themselves but everyone when they protest. They are thinking about the future and what will happen when there is no longer drinkable water for us to drink from. Over 450 people were arrested when they were peacefully protesting against the pipeline. This is what is happening in Canada. If you want to join and change, you can. Protest, sign petitions, or simply talk about and help bring awareness to the subject.
That's very interesting. Now, on to our next guest, Susan Parsley, journalist from the Parsley Times. She's in AMA 23/6 today to tell us about our international issue.
Thanks, Holly. We all know about the climate change epidemic, and as a great current example is the water crisis in South Africa. 2 years ago, the country was hit with an El Nino that left behind a long drought. Cape Town, South Africa's second largest city, was hit particularly hard and has been in agricultural and economic recession ever since. They have less than 10% of their usable water available for its citizens.
That's terrible. How's the drought affecting the city's residents?
The mayor has stated that despite being in the midst of the worst drought in a century, that nearly 4 million residents were not doing much to reduce their water usage. As of February 1st, residents will not be able to use more than 50 liters of water per person per day.
How will the situation improve?
Well, it was predicted for the city to run out of water on April 22nd of this year, But the city's website has recently pushed back the date of day zero, the day that all water runs dry, to sometime in 2019. Dam levels for the Western Cape province, which includes Cape Town, were at 18.3% last week compared to the 19% the week before. According to South Africa's Department of Water Affairs, the mayor has stated that they are now holding out for their upcoming rainy season.
Bye, Torontonians.
How do you feel about today's current international issues?
Educated.
Educated. Amazing.
Very woke about Cape Town's drought. With another male, and they were both hospitalized, but were considered non-life-threatening injuries. While his friend was released in his spine, Blake passed away on March 29th in Sunnybrook Hospital. And the York Region Police waited. Why do I keep on stuttering? Can we just restart?
Yeah.
Guest, Maple Italia. But first, for a breaking local news story.
Cut!
What can we do to help?
Oh
I hate you all. Okay, we can edit that out. Okay, I'll go again.
Can we just like crop it?
Yeah, I'll go again. Okay, so what can we do to help?
Homicide unit.
Okay, go. If you guys can laugh. Okay.
Sip it. No.
Do we put it in the music?
No.
Yeah, because I was just starting that. Okay. So, like, okay.
Oh my god. Just play the music.